Hello, everyone, and before we begin, I want to say something briefly and sincerely. If you enjoy thoughtful science fiction, I'd be grateful if you'd take a moment to hit like on this video, follow my Facebook page, Derek Jones and the Dark Mirrors, and subscribe to my YouTube channel by the same name. I share free video character studies and behind-the-scenes explorations there, content I personally use as inspiration while writing these books, and I'd love to have you along for the journey. Thank you. Now, let me introduce myself. My name is Eugene Ingram Jr., and I'm the author of Derek Jones and the Dark Mirrors, the first book in the Chronicles of Derek Jones. This story didn't begin as a desire to write a series. It began as a question, a quiet one, that stayed with me for most of my life. What happens when curiosity outpaces fear? I've always been drawn to science, not as a list of facts, but as a human practice. Science is one of the few ways we learn humility. Every answer reveals how much we still don't know. And alongside science, faith has been important to me, not as something opposed to discovery, but as something that asks equally hard questions about meaning, responsibility, and intention. For me, wonder has always lived at the intersection of those two impulses, understanding how the universe works, and asking why it matters that we're here at all. Derek Jones and the Dark Mirrors grew out of that space. At its heart, Book 1 is the story of a young person standing at the edge of something vastly larger than himself, not because he's seeking power, but because he's asking questions. The kind of questions that many of us asked as teenagers about identity, love, ethics, destiny, and belonging, except in a world where those questions have cosmic consequences. This is not a story that rushes toward galactic warfare. It's a character-driven beginning. Romance matters here. Friendship matters. Family matters. Wonder matters. Physics matters, but so does how people treat one another once new truths are revealed. Book 1 deliberately plants seeds that do not bloom immediately. That was intentional. Some stories promise spectacle first and reflection later. This one does the opposite. It invites you to care about people, about choices, about restraint, before asking you to consider what humanity might become when extraordinary tools fall into human hands. Derek Jones is not a chosen one in the way mythology often defines it. He isn't powerful because he seeks domination or certainty. He's powerful because he listens, because he hesitates, because he questions authority, including his own instincts. And that matters, because the world we're living in now is changing faster than at any point in human history. Artificial intelligence, advanced physics, space exploration, these are no longer speculative ideas. They're already reshaping what is possible. A life beyond this planet is no longer fantasy, it's becoming increasingly probable. The real question isn't whether humanity will reach farther into the cosmos. It's who we'll be when we do. That's what this series explores. In Book 1, the universe opens just enough for you to feel its scale, without overwhelming the human story at its center. You'll encounter ideas rooted in real physics and real scientific debate, but always filtered through personal experience. Through relationships. Through moments where a single choice reveals character. And while this first book keeps its focus intimate, the horizon is already widening. Without spoilers, I can tell you this, the ethical questions grow heavier. The scope expands. The responsibilities deepen. Power, who holds it, how it's justified, and who pays the price, becomes increasingly complex. What seems benevolent at first may not remain so. What appears threatening may demand reevaluation. And beneath it all, spiritual and metaphysical questions quietly intensify, not as doctrines, but as lived experiences. Moments where science reaches its limits and characters must decide what they believe and why. I wanted to write a story that trusted young readers and readers of all ages to think. To sit with uncertainty. To recognize that restraint can be just as heroic as action. If you're looking for instant answers, this may not be the right story. But if you're curious about what happens when humanity's tools outgrow its wisdom, and what it might take to bridge that gap, then I hope Derek's journey resonates with you. Derek Jones and the Dark Mirrors is now available in bookstores and libraries through Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and globally via Ingram Spark distribution. Book 1 is an invitation, not just into a fictional universe, but into a way of thinking about our future. I'm grateful you're here. I'm grateful for readers who take their time, who ask hard questions, and who believe that wonder and responsibility belong together. And if you choose to continue the journey through books 2 and 3, know this: nothing unfolds without consequence. Every seed matters. Every choice echoes. Thank you for listening, and welcome to the world of Derek Jones.